And so thanks, Cynthia, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Ana La Jefa. I'm so proud to be here. I'm so grateful that you picked us and that we're talking about this. So happy to be here and happy to share.
Thank you. And we're just going to, dive right into our questions. And so, our first question. So, how did you guys meet?
So very traditional at the club. Hello. Yes. We both went to a club that no longer exists anymore, which we're really disappointed about, actually. That closed down, and it was just like a random Sunday night that my friends and I decided to go. And this club, which again, I'm just so mad that it's shut down, but it was like one of the few clubs in Atlanta that was like really multicultural and very like mixed DJ, and it always had like just really good dancing music, not like typical top 40. It was just like really good dancing music. So anyway, we go, and it's funny because when you come into the club, it's like, you go through like your checkpoint, and then there's about 4 or 5 big, large steps that you walk down, and then it's a dance floor. So the bar is adjacent to like the final step as you walk in. And my friends and I, as we typically do, used to hang out at the bar. And then like midway through the night, then we go to the dance part. But anyway, we were just hanging out at the bar, and you look up and you can kind of see everybody come into the club, as they come down the steps. It's almost like, I don't know, like a movie, you come down to the steps and like the party. And we saw him and his friend. And I remember Stan had on this fedora hat, and I love accessories, and I love a hat. And yeah, he had on this hat, and I immediately eyed him, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I go back to my little water, like, I don't see you. But yeah, so him and his friend approached my crew, and that was the end of it.
Oh, okay. So it was the hat. Okay.
It was that. I mean, literally, like we met, we talked, we all had a good time that night. We went to like, I think, Waffle House later. Like, real college life.
I love this. But disclaimer, I don't think all guys can pull this off. So please, if you're taking notes, don't take that one. You know, just very
Right.
personally. Yeah. Okay.
Right. No, I
We'll
mean,
give him a pass on this one.
this one, yeah, I don't know how he did it. I mean, honestly, I remember he asked what we were all drinking, and then he bought everybody drinks. But I'm like the mom of the group. So when I know my girls are like having a good time, I'm just like, I'm going to back out of too much drinking, because I want to be ready. Like, I need to throw down. If I need to throw down, I need to fight, whatever. So like I start to become like the designated driver person, even though I wasn't really driving at the time. But so anyway, so I was like, yeah, give me a Coke, and that was it. But we just kept talking, and we danced, and we had a good time, and we stayed in contact. And this was like in 2009.
Oh, wow, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I don't know if I'm going to keep going, but yeah. So from then we dated like briefly. Like, it was like he wasn't living in Georgia at the time, so it was very like, whenever he was in town and traveling, um, and life kind of like took separate ways. Like, it was one of those things. Like, I think Facebook then just came out, and we were still like MySpace time, and I remember we were friends on MySpace. But
for Generation C who might listen to MySpace,
yeah, footnote.
It was like our Facebook. There we go.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we just were, we kind of, I didn't necessarily, what'd you say?
I love that. Fedoras and Coke.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic.
Story. I love it. And So I feel like I know a few details because I have you guys as as friends on Facebook, and so I was very biased about the next question, and so I want to know. I mean, from your perspective, I need to know the proposal story.
Well, I had no idea if the if you're thinking I knew, I did not know.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so the proposal story was we were at a club again. I'm telling you, before you have kids, like any chance you get, go
Go to the
out.
club. Go to the club.
So naturally, New Year's Eve, um, in 20, uh, 16 into 2017, we were out and we went to the club with close friends of ours, and it was right before they call, the countdown at midnight. And he took me outside, and this is going to sound really, I don't know, presumptuous, but we went outside, and there's like a red carpet area, and you're right on the street. It's like in downtown Atlanta. So I thought, I
Mhm.
was like, am I getting a new car? Like,
Ah,
what's happening?
yes.
Like, because all these cars were rolling
Oh,
up, like it
rolling
was a
up
car after
levels.
car, and people were getting out of their cars. They were coming in, and I was like, oh, I need a new car. So this past, I'm getting a new car. Oh
I
God.
mean, what girl doesn't want that, right?
I mean,
That's a
hello. I mean, it's funny because like we at that time we talked, we communicated, we interacted as if we were already a married couple.
yeah.
So I just assumed that I was getting a new car.
That was the next natural step.
That was the next natural step. So we're
Take
outside,
notes,
and
Dan. Take
I
notes.
know, I know. I mean, soon maybe.
Yeah.
um, and our friends were just around, and he was acting really weird. And he grabs my hand, and he just and then like turns me. So then I'm facing the street, and he's facing the club. And he starts giving this like really profound speech about what I mean to him and all these things. And again, I'm just like, it's a car. Until of course he gets on his knees and he says my full name. And I started laughing because of course when I get nervous, I have this laugh, and I'm just laughing like, is this for real? And yeah, he pulled out the ring and he asked me to marry him, and I was just like, oh my gosh, in tears, and picked him up almost, and kissed him and said, of course I do. And yeah, then we go back in the club and finish dancing. But I will say that
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ago I did get another car, so it did work out.
Yay! We got the car. I mean, but don't hold back, Sam. When you hear this, don't hold back.
Don't hold
Valentine's Day
back.
will be around the corner, so don't hold
Exactly.
back. I got you, Cynthia. I got you.
Thank you.
So the next question we have for you: what is one thing that your partner does that just makes you smile and feel warm inside?
Stan is very funny. He's very naturally funny and just humorous type of guy. And I think what I've always, or we even talk about this quite often, is like we always enjoy our bedtime routine because well, my son is like me in the sense that like we fight bedtime. We're like, no, leave me alone. I could be sleeping on a couch, it's like, leave me alone. I want to stay here. I don't want to get up. But once I get to bed, I'm like, oh, thank God I'm in bed. But it's funny because we have this thing where I fight to sleep. We get into bed, and it's like we will laugh in bed for like a good maybe 5-10 minutes, almost every night, of just jokes and being silly and making fun of things that have happened throughout the day. Like maybe they weren't funny when they happened, but then like at night we're laughing at what just happened. And that really makes me feel very safe, very secure, and just, really happy to be in a space where humor and love are, combined. Um, and he does a really good job about making sure that no matter what happens, we're always laughing. And that was the biggest thing for me, is that I could find somebody that made me laugh and or found joy when I couldn't find it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Way to go. Way to go. Way to
Yeah.
go. Next question. What is something that they have done that you thought was exceptionally kind or thoughtful?
Oh wow. Um there's a lot of moments, to be honest. He is very thoughtful. Um oh geez. There's two times where I was like the actual act wasn't like a big to do, but it was the thought behind it, that really made me like I was like in tears. So after giving birth to my son, I want to say like around month 3, I went back to work and it was like probably the most stressful time of my life. And I remember it may have been like 2 weeks after returning back to work. I came home and the whole apartment was cleaned. Like everything was cleaned up, everything was reorganized. The house smelled like bleach. Like I love a germ killed place,
Notes. Take notes. Take notes.
the Lysol was okay. And I was in tears. I was like, oh my God. Because it wasn't like that's not like a big thing, but it meant so much to me because you're juggling so many hats and you want an organized place to live in. And when you have a newborn and everyone's working and we're back and forth between like leaving the house and coming back in and trying to cook and trying to do this, and you have so much going on. Obviously, a clean house is like, it's like just another chore that you really can never feel like you can accomplish. Like and when I came in, it was like, ah, like it's done, and that was amazing for me. The other thing was when on my 30th birthday a couple years ago, my friends and I, we went to Vegas. Naturally, is what you do. And we had an amazing time in Vegas and check into the hotel. And he had already, I didn't know he did this. He had already arranged at the hotel champagne and snacks and like chocolate treats and card and cake and all these beautiful things to celebrate me. But even though he wasn't even there,
Yeah.
and I just felt like so thought of and loved and celebrated, from afar. Like that was really, really cool for him to do that for me. Um, yeah, like that was just really, really awesome.
That's
And then it
awesome.
was funny because it's again how things shift. Like when you have a family and you have a home and things, like you start to little things matter more than they did, or you never thought that they mattered. But like yesterday he was at Home Depot and he got these lights that we can hang out under the deck. And I was like, oh my God, you got the lights. It's just so funny because, you know, I think maybe
Oh,
5 years ago I would have been like, oh, we're going to Miami. Yes. you
great.
know like, but now it's like, oh my God, you got the perfect outdoor lighting
I
without me
mean,
telling you.
as someone who admires y'all, I mean, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is the dream, right? Like,
Yeah.
as we record, this podcast, I'm in a small studio apartment, and so the dream of one day my husband coming home to give us lights for our deck.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, any girl wants, if you're a heterosexual girl, who wants a good man, an honest man, you're gonna love the lights for the deck. That's
Yeah. I mean, I was like happy dancing. Like, what?
that's beautiful. I love that.
But yeah, it's just the attention to detail, I think, has been like his thing. Like, he's really good at that. And he knows I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. It's good to hear, and I think they had a conversation yesterday, right, about the speakers put up on a show, right? They said it on Namka. And I think that's something that I have known to be true about, Stan. That,
Hmm.
it's not a show. It's not a show. And
Yeah.
I think it shows in the way that he treats you. I mean, I pay
Yeah.
attention to how he treats you. And so that's Yes. Keep say yes to cars. Yes to the lights.
Yeah.
And yes to girls trip. So I mean, we still
Yeah.
encourage you to send Cynthia with girlfriends on trips. So that's
Yeah. It
great.
was awesome.
And that's awesome. As much as I would love to keep hearing about y'all for, a last question. So what has been your favorite memory with your partner so far?
Oh, your audio kind of broke up. You said, what was your favorite memory for what?
Oh, sorry. And I'm just going to pause a little bit so we can break that up. So what has been your favorite memory with your partner so far?
Sorry.
Let me know if you can hear me. Yeah, no,
No.
you're good. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like at the very end, it starts to really
Oh,
go.
okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There might be some connection issues right now. Let me see. Just let me know when you can hear me
Yeah.
clearly.
That's,
And then there we go. Right there.
yeah.
Awesome. So, what has been your favorite memory with your partner so far?
Oh, wow. Um, Favorite memory. Um, there's a lot of good ones. I want to say it has to, this is probably the favorite memory is how, so I want to say when I gave birth to our son, like watching him. And so, not to go too deep into the birth story, but essentially the only person in the room was Stan and a nurse, which isn't typical of hospital delivery. Like you have like more than two people. Um, and anyway, so it was just him helping deliver our son. Like he was just, yeah. And I remember when he arrived, I was like, oh my God, he's here. And Stan's like, you did it. You did it. I'm so proud of you. Like was in my face, like, like I did a marathon. I mean, I probably felt like I did one, but like, he was like, yeah, like, whoa, and mind you, I was like in a moment of shock too, because I was pissed at the doctors. Like my physician literally came in the room as my son was coming out. So like she caught him with one hand, and it was like, this is all not okay. But it was crazy because it was Stan and one nurse, and they helped me deliver him. And he was just so excited and so like proud, because it was obviously it's a very scary moment. It's an emotional time, and there's just so much going on in like a capsule of a moment. And all of these emotions that were happening, he was there with me for that. And I just will never forget looking at his face of pure joy, and also just like I said, like as if I had like done some like Iron Man competition. It was like he looked at me with such pride and like happiness, like we got here, and I was like, yeah. So that's been my favorite memory so far. It probably will always be, but yeah, that was pretty profound.
So, yes, thankfully we were able to capture your last response. And so, thank you so much, Cynthia, for sharing today with us. I appreciate that. And it's awesome to hear, that it's just so awesome to see role models, right? And to see, couples who have children, who are successful, who are, working hard, who have their own projects, and just seem to, be good friends to each other. And so thank you for sharing your story today. I appreciate you so much for being with us today.
Oh no, thank you for hearing our story and liking us enough to want to hear it. No, I appreciate it, and I am grateful to talk about him. He's an amazing man, and I love him so much. So anytime I get to put the spotlight on him and shine on his qualities that not everybody gets to see, I like to do that. So thanks for the opportunity. And it was so good talking to you about it.
Of course. I know. I always get to hear, I talk to Stan a lot. And so I get to hear, when he talks about juice, but it was awesome to hear, your side. And so like, I didn't know that other side of the proposal story. You wanting a car, which is a very important detail to this story. And so thank you for being with me today. Thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it.